Yeah. Oh, now it's got like little funny eyes on it. Damn. Okay.
It's not quite thick.
Live. Right. Well, I think we may be live. Who knows? Somebody's there. Does that thumbs up mean that I'm live? Excellent. Can we try and zoom in there a little bit? Is that possible? It seems terribly big. That looks better. Hello, everybody. Neil here. Don't know if anyone else... Jill is watching. Okay, so... Right, I'll just wait until about past to get started. I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, somebody waved at me. That's fantastic. So I think that's just about right. It looks like we're more or less live and on. That seems very out of focus somehow. No, doesn't matter. I'm pretty much out of focus most of my time. So I'll fit right in. Okay, good. The Davies are here too. That's fantastic. Nice to see you all. Can you hear me? Is the volume okay? Give me a thumbs up if the volume's okay, or how would you tell me if it's not? Good question. We can see you, Noah and Iona. Excellent, great. Hi guys. Can you hear me is the question I wanted to ask. Somebody can just type in and tell me if they're hearing me loudly and clearly. Yes, I see a thumbs up. Great, excellent. Is it about past? Excellent. This is so new to me, so I've never done this, so thank you for your patience. For those of you who may be listening to this afterwards and wondering who this strange person is, I'm Neil Mayer, I'm the minister here at Kintore, and as we're about to head into the second week of isolation and lockdown here, I wanted to check in with you to see how you're doing, how you're coping, and I do mean how you're coping. What I mean is, what are you doing to cope? Because it seems to me that that is a bit of a problem at the moment. The internet's full of memes. You would have seen them. I've been watching them too, about lockdown and so on. And the things that have struck me most of all are the ones that say things like, has it only been a week? It seems like, it's been a year in the last week. And other people saying, I've lost track of what day it is. Well, it's the same for me. So I wanted to chat to you a little bit about that. This is not a church service. This is just a message from me. I'm doing it now because in about half an hour's time, some other churches nearby will start their online services. And I want to encourage you to join them. Our friends at Chemney, if you go to their website, you'll get a live link to their online service. If you get to Inverurie West, they have a service as well, which I think starts at 11. So before you go across there, I just wanted to check in with you. You'll know that the changes we've gone through in the last 2 weeks, or even just in the last 7 days, have been just crazy, relentless. It's as though everything changes. The rules by which we live change almost every day. In fact, they have changed every day. And it seems that in this situation, every decision we make, it doesn't matter what decision it is absolutely critical. Even simple things like when to go to the shop, who goes to the shop, what to buy when you go to the shop. These are not, things that we would just take for granted are now big critical decisions, and there's pressure on us to make them. And then there's the constant stream of information. We're just bombarded all the time with more and more information. And, what are the latest stats? What is the latest news? Who's caught it? Who hasn't caught it? What's the latest advice from the NHS? TV, radio, social media. And there's pressure to stay on top of it, to know what the latest is that's happening. And then, of course, there's the emotional stress that goes along with it, the people we're worried about and so forth. I feel like I'm having to learn new skills every day, like this, for example. 2 weeks ago, I didn't know that Zoom existed. Now my life seems a constant stream of Zoom meetings. And all the things people put out there to help you don't really help either. All the things for you to do to keep busy, all the things for your kids to do to keep busy. Joe Wicks is now doing his exercise in the morning, and all of this is supposed to help you, but actually it just adds to the pressure of what you need to do. I've been following, for example, what other ministers are doing online, and there are some creative things, fantastic things that people are doing to create church services and other things. And while it's lovely to watch, it just adds to the pressure, because it just highlights for me how technologically unsavvy I am. So there's this feeling of failure too. And then, of course, there's the added stress for those who are trying to help by volunteering and just feeling overwhelmed by and helpless against the tide. And still, the relentless stream of information. The breaking point came for me this week on Thursday when Lend a Hand, which is the the volunteer group that we've set up with the other churches and the community council and individuals in Kintore, discovered that all the leaflets we'd sent out had the wrong telephone number. And I kind of felt responsible because I'm the one who should have checked the number. If you're in Kintore, let me give you the correct number, please. It's 07590 856 444. The leaflet you received through your door had the numbers 5 and 9 transposed, and we're really sorry about the confusion that it's caused. And if anyone has been trying that number and leaving messages on the answering machine, I do apologize. Please do use the correct number. By the end of Friday afternoon, I was finished. I was just finished. I needed a break from it all. And we weren't even through 1 week of lockdown yet, you know? So there's this passage from the Bible, from the last week of Jesus' life, just before he's arrested and goes on trial and is crucified. It's part of the Bible story which we would be reading at this time of year anyway, in leading up to Easter. It's where Jesus spends an evening with his friends and then heads off to a garden to be alone with his prayers. It's from Matthew chapter 26. I'll read it for you. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And taking with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me." And going a little further, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So could you not watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." So, here in the middle of this hectic week, the most hectic week in Jesus' life, he goes away all of a sudden to a quiet garden to pray. Doesn't he have better things to do? Shouldn't he be using this time better? Shouldn't he be staying on top of things at this time? This is his last chance to engage with people. Yet he spends this critical time withdrawing from the world into a quiet place. Actually, when you look at the whole of Jesus' life and his ministry, you see that he follows this constant pattern of engaging and then withdrawing, engaging and withdrawing. He goes to help those who are sick and in need, performs miracles, withdraws to a quiet place to pray. Constant rhythm of engage and withdraw. And when you see the same pattern in all the other leaders and sages of the Bible, like Moses at the Exodus, and Elijah and Elisha, the great prophets, you see a similar thing, as well as the apostles in the New Testament. They all have this: we engage, we withdraw. We engage, we withdraw. So, here's my message to you this morning. Over the coming weeks and months, you need time to step away occasionally. You need to just step away from it all. I am seriously concerned for for our spiritual and emotional and mental well-being. I think we are in danger of burnout. I think we're in danger of being overwhelmed. I think we're in danger of just having too much coming at us all the time, and I don't think it's good for us. If I could come close to losing it after just, 4 days of lockdown, I'm guessing I'm not the only one who feels like I'm teetering on the edge. So I want to commend to you the disciplines of silence and solitude and Sabbath rest. It might sound odd talking about solitude when we're all stuck on our own and social distancing and in isolation. What on earth do I mean by solitude? But solitude and isolation are not the same thing. Technology makes it possible for us to be on our own physically, but still engaged all the time and never alone with our own thoughts. Solitude means drawing away from all of that and being alone with our own thoughts and our relationship with God in prayer. I want you to consider this. Think about switching off from the constant stream. Imagine, here's an image I use for myself. So imagine you're standing at on a tennis court, and there's constantly balls being hit at you, and you're running from this side to that side, hitting the balls back. Now, there are two problems with this, if that's how life is, that we're constantly hitting back what's being thrown at us. The one is, we run ourselves ragged trying to get to every shot. But there's more than that. While we're running, returning the shots that are coming at us, we never have the opportunity or the chance to put a ball into the game ourselves. In other words, what I'm saying is, if you're constantly reacting to the relentless stream of new stimuli, then you only ever react to what is important to others. You follow their agenda. You let them decide what's important and what's urgent. You never get to dictate the values yourself. Taking a step back from it all gives you the chance to find your center again, to remember what your values are, what actually matters to you. You see, not everything is within your control. Not everything needs your urgent attention. Not everything is waiting for you to react. And what's more, since you're finite and only have finite energy and time, you would be foolish to spend the time and energy you do have on that which is not most important to you. The rhythm of engaging and withdrawing means you can take back the power and choose where best to spend your energies. True, some things won't get done, that's fair enough, but at least you will have the peace of mind of knowing that you have done the best you can and not simply the most you can. Okay, so how do we do this? Within the Christian tradition, we practice the disciplines of prayer, of meditation, and Sabbath rest. And perhaps, if those are not familiar to you, perhaps you're more familiar with some other practices from other traditions, yoga or the martial arts, anything that causes us to still our minds. This is the moment where these disciplines come into their own. And please don't think that such practices are just esoteric flummery, kind of, fancy namby-pamby stuff that we can do without at a time like this. It's very sad that the way that mindfulness, for example, has been marketed makes it sound as though it's some kind of middle-class luxury. Remember that the disciplines of silence and solitude and prayer and Sabbath rest were not developed in bourgeois parlors to ward off the boredom of the comfortable. They were developed among those in the midst of turmoil as a way of coping with extreme situations. Like Moses, for example, being in the desert with a slave people trying to set them free. The great prophet standing up for social justice against powerful despotic tyrants. Jesus and his followers facing persecution and even execution. These disciplines were designed to answer the question, how do you sustain your purpose, your values, and your sanity while you go through the fire? You take a breath. You breathe. you recenter, and then you re-engage. So I'm challenging you, I'm not challenging you, I'm pleading with you to do that, to take a break from it all, just step away from the computer and take a break. And I'll finish with just a few bits of advice from one who's tried and failed and thinks he's getting somewhere, hopefully. First of all, don't do what I almost did and not tell anyone, thinking you can cope if you just press on through. None of us is omnipotent. We all need a break from the situation once in a while. So, you haven't failed if you need a break. You need that to sustain yourself. Remember the air hostess, the advice she gave us to make sure we can breathe before helping other passengers? Well, that's what you need to do right now. Make sure you can breathe first. And secondly, don't do what I did do and just go off the grid without telling anybody that you're going to do so, especially if there are some people relying on you or who are concerned about you. And maybe I should just say sorry to Laura at this point if I suddenly kind of disappeared yesterday and you were wondering where I was. Tell those who are closest to you that you'll be disengaging for a day, that it's just a day. You're disengaging, you'll be back in 24 hours, they mustn't worry about you. Of course, make sure that you do check in with them again in 24 hours, but just step away from the constant news feed. And then finally, I want to say, if you need to, talk about it. And if it's hard to talk to those who are closest to you because you don't want to concern them and they've got their own problems, then I want you to consider reaching out to a skilled listener. You can get hold of me through my contact details or on our website, which should be up and running in a new form and should have all my contact details on it. Please check it out, www.kintorekirk.org. Or contact one of the telephone befrienders through Lend a Hand Kintore. Again, notice the change of telephone number there. So, folks, thank you for engaging this morning. I hope that you enjoy your worship, which should start in about 15 minutes across on other churches. I hope to be in touch with you again. I hope this worked. I'm just going to say a prayer for you. Maybe you've never done this before either, but here we go. Let's just pray. Lord God, I pray for the people of our community here in Kintore. I pray for the people of Scotland, and I pray for the people of the world. At this broken time, we come to you, for you are the great healer. Would you heal us and restore us? Would you hold us in the palm of your hand? Would you help us to reach out to one another, not only to offer help, but also to seek help? For we are your people together. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much, and I'm going to finish this. Let's see if it works. Comments, criticism, it's all welcome. Thank you. Bye.